Hey everyone, Jason Weckerly here again, and here we are touching base on cheaters in the world of tournament fishing and the world of fishing overall. Since we had a recent occurrence happen over at the Lake Erie tournament with Jacob Runyan and Chase Cominsky shoving weights down the throats of their walleyes and trying to win the tournament that way, I started to think about something I said in a few recent videos, or a couple recent videos, and that's the fact that this wasn't the first time people have been caught cheating. And I started to look up on the internet other cases where people were caught cheating, and I was just absolutely blown away by some of the stories I was told, some of the things I found out. And it's incredible that in today's day and age, people think they can get away with the stuff that they do. And I wanted to tell you guys a couple pieces of information I found out about Cominsky and Runyan to begin with. First, I guess Runyan was arrested this past summer for domestic violence and unlawful restraining, and he has a restraining order against him from the victim. So it appears that Cominsky cheats on his wife and Runyan abuses his wife. So great guys right off the bat. I know people make mistakes. I know in relationships tensions can fly. But if you have a restraining order and somebody fears you enough to get a restraining order, I'm sure it wasn't the first time, just because he was arrested, that he was abusing his wife or his girlfriend, whoever it was. There wasn't a lot of information said about who it was. I'm not sure if that guy was married or not, because you search and search and search through Google and all the information, stories pop up, and then you hear the opposite story and all this, but it is confirmed that he was brought in by police this past summer on domestic violence charges. So that's that, and we're still waiting to see what's going to happen to these guys for cheating in the Lake Erie tournament, which I wouldn't hold my breath for much, because it appears to me, when I looked into these cheating fishermen, their histories, you don't really see a lot come from it. In some states, you see felony charges put on these people. In other states in this country, they basically just get away with it and keep on fishing tournaments and keep on going about their dirty little business. So I'm really hoping that the books are cracked down, the books of justice are cracked down on these guys' knuckles, and they don't get a slap on the wrist, so to speak, because these guys literally tried to steal $29,000. And the point I'm making here is there's been tournaments that paid out much more money than that, people who won hundreds of thousands of dollars cheating in tournaments where barely anything even happened to them outside of being banned from a tournament or given a couple fines. But I'm going to get into a story right now about a fisherman named Mike Lawn. And the story about this guy is just out of this world crazy. This is a man who was considered possibly the greatest bass fisherman on the planet. He was catching giant bass out of California, monster fish. He even caught the 9th largest largemouth bass ever recorded. It was like almost 21 pounds. But this guy was caught being a cheater by an old tournament partner of his who was suspicious about this guy's cheating over the years. So this tournament partner of his basically did his own investigation by dressing up in camouflage and staking out the lakes where Mike Lawn was fishing, and got video of him snagging these giant bass off of nests during the spawning season taking pictures with them, bragging about them over the internet, all sorts of crap like that. And, well, the story gets even deeper than that. I took some notes here because, I mean, this is just crazy. He was exposed by Kellen Ellis, which was his former tournament partner, and basically Mike Long refused to allow Ellis to fish with him at times, which rose a lot of suspicion, because why would this guy go out of his way to want to fish alone so much when tournament partners are supposed to be fishing together? But it turns out Mike Long was taking fish from other lakes, bringing them back to his garage, his house, and putting them in a fish tank in his garage so that he could hide them in his boat or tie them to a tree or a log somewhere in the lake and come back for them during a tournament. And he was sitting there on the cover of Bassmaster magazine. He was being called the greatest bass fisherman in the world. All these people who tried to expose him, he would sit there and threaten their lives. He would even go as far as loosening the lug nuts on people's car tires and boat trailer tires, which I don't know how he got away with any of this stuff, because that's basically attempted murder. But he even went as far as threatening a 13-year-old kid of one of his former tournament partners. That man's son was 13 years old, and he started telling several people that he saw a fish tank in Mike Long's garage with 2 big bass in it. And then when Mike Long found out about this a couple weeks later, he showed up to the person's house asking where their kid was, asking where does he sleep. He started looking through their windows, stalking them, threatening their lives, everything. So this guy went as far as loosening lug nuts on tires, threatening a 13-year-old kid for exposing the fact that he has a fish tank in his garage. He was claiming to have caught over 100 bass over 10 pounds. And then as soon as his old tournament partner got sick and tired of all this, like I said, he dressed up in camouflage, staked out the lakes, got video of Mike Long taking a treble hook or some crap with a white little plastic, throwing it down there by these bedding bass and just snagging them and catching them. And that's what turned the entire tournament world and bass fishing world upside down for a short period of time, because this guy, like I said, was considered one of the best. And it turns out, well, a lot of people who fished with him said he was subpar as a bass fisherman. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not trying to take any credit away from Mike's skill as a fisherman, but if he had to sit there snagging fish and bragging about it, his skills as a fisherman weren't that great. So, nothing to brag about. But as soon as this guy was found out, Mike Long started deleting his social media accounts. His sponsors were calling him up, asking if it's true that he was snagging fish. He was known around the entire world. An Italian rod company called Aris, I believe, it was Aris or Aries or something, made a signature series Mike Long fishing rod, and as soon as he wasn't getting back to their messages, they pretty much figured out that it was not a lie that he was snagging these bass. So they took away his sponsorship. They donated all the fishing rods to a children's fishing charity, and he lost his sponsors. And rumor has it, nothing really came about this. I don't know if fines were made, if he spent any time in jail. There's not anything on the internet I'm finding that states he was even arrested. I mean, this is a man who could have killed people, a man threatening children, and he sits there and gets away with it, which I think is why the Cominsky and Runyan case is so serious right now in the media, because so many fishermen have gotten away with some really bogus things, and even some very dangerous things. According to rumor, I guess Mike Lawn, back in the 1980s, was caught poaching catfish, blue catfish. He was trespassing, he was fishing illegally, all sorts of stuff, and there's a picture of his big catfish hanging in his garage with a bunch of no trespassing signs he stole from the place he caught them from. So this guy was cocky. He threatened everyone who ever threatened to expose him. People were scared of this guy. People knew that he was loosening lug nuts on tires and doing some crazy crap. So this went on for years and years. And the more his reputation grew as a bass fisherman, his reputation became bigger than the truth itself. It was like his reputation was larger than life. And he had a big following. He had a lot of people who looked up to him, like most athletes and most people in sports who do really well. He had followers. And it just brings me to my point that just because you're famous, it doesn't give you a right to sit there and cheat. It doesn't give you the right to act arrogant or like your crap don't stink. And sooner or later, you're going to get caught. But I don't know why some of these guys got away with it. Some of them have felonies. It seems like the whole rules behind tournament fishing are really mixed up and messed up. And every state, every DNR across the country has to sit there and get on an equal level or on an equal page with this. Because if people are getting away with this, they're going to keep doing it. And this is why Cominsky and Runyan need to have the books slammed down on them. The judge needs to put them in jail, make an example out of them, and that's all there is to it. There's other tournament anglers who have cheated, like Mike Hart. Mike Hart, a few years ago, won $200,000 cheating in a tournament. And, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. If you look this stuff up, it's unreal. But the story of Mike Lawn bothered me the most, because this is a guy who is threatening kids. This is a guy who is sitting there basically endangering people's lives. He should have gone to prison for attempted murder, but the only thing I read about online is that he was put into witness protection and he moved out of the state of California. I don't know if he has social media accounts now. I don't know if he's still in witness protection. But there was a lot of people who wanted to go after him after he was exposed and found out. And I just hope that this Chase Cominsky situation, Cominsky and Runyan, I hope that these guys don't get away with this. I want every DNR, like I said, to be on the same page and level. I want the laws to change, because poaching or cheating is no different. And some of these guys even poached to win tournaments, so that's really disgusting. Some of these guys are putting fish in fish tanks, feeding them, making them grow bigger, or catching them illegally out of another body of water where the tournament don't even take place, keeping them alive and then bringing them to that tournament. There's going to have to be rules where every boat is checked inside and out now for fish that are being brought into the tournament. You're probably going to have cameras on every boat, maybe even going live, to make sure nobody's going over to some log jam and pulling a bass off a rope that they put down there secretively. I mean, that guy Mike Lawn, he did it all, and like I said, it sounds like nothing really came about charges or anything against this guy. He just kind of got away with it. So I don't think Cominsky and Runyan are going to get away with this. I think the whole fishing community, even people who don't even fish, are following this. And I think if they do get away with it, there's going to be way too many pissed off people, including myself. But like I said, they weren't the only ones to be cheaters. They weren't the only ones to do this. And it seems to pop up like every few years where someone gets caught doing something stupid. But in the information age, it is absolutely dumb to think you're going to get away with this crap for long. And I think Runyan and Cominsky found that out the hard way. And these are guys who, every one of these guys who do this crap, they're the biggest, most arrogant jackasses you could ever imagine. And they sit there posting their pictures all over the internet, bragging about, oh, look at these big fish, those big fish. They don't seem to show much heart or soul or very good character. And some of them just come off as being downright psychotic, like Mike Lawn. I mean, that guy was going to great lengths to not be exposed. I mean, I don't know why or how he got away with it. I wish the guy could be arrested right now, thrown in jail for all the crap he said and did. And it's just a shame to me that a 13-year-old kid had to live in fear because this guy was stalking his house looking for him, and that's just psychotic behavior overall. But we don't know yet what's going to happen to Cominsky or Runyan in this Lake Erie tournament cheating scandal. So far, there's an investigation going on. I'm sure we're going to find out in the coming days or weeks what's going to happen to them. But it turns out that Runyan already had a run-in with the cops this year, and now he had his second run-in with the cops for cheating in a tournament. So the guy's a piece of work, like I've said in my other videos. And I know the story of Mike Lawn is old news. It's from like 2018 or 2019. But that guy was doing crap since the 1980s and getting away with it. Whether it was catfishing, bass fishing. He was labeled the best bass tournament angler in the world for a while. The guy who catches all the big ones, blah, 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 blah. And the guy was a joke. He was a snagger, and he was bragging about nothing, basically, because anyone can snag a fish that they see right down below them using a white grub and a treble hook. I mean, it doesn't take much to snag a fish. So shame on that guy. Shame on Cominsky and Runyan. Shame on Mike Hart and all the other people who have gotten away with this crap, because the list goes on and on. If you ever get bored, just look it up. Cheating in tournaments has been going on for a long time. Cheating in the record books. I guess the man who caught the world record smallmouth back in 1955 out of Dale Hollow Reservoir, he started to be accused of shoving like sand or gravel down the throat of the bass that he weighed in for the world record. And after passing multiple polygraph tests, it turns out he wasn't a liar. But the second biggest smallmouth was also caught out of Dale Hollow Reservoir in 1969. That fish held as the world record for a while because the first world record was under investigation. But I'm happy that this old man who caught the 1955 world record was able to get his record back in the books. I mean, not every person accused of cheating is a cheater, and there's a lot of haters out there. If anyone sees you doing better than them, a lot of people will turn around and try to cut you down, insult you. It's just jealousy and nothing more. But when people are actually caught, there should be some consequences, especially when you're trying to steal money. I mean, if I walked into a store, robbed the store, I'd go to jail for robbery. So how is cheating in a tournament any different than robbing someone? Other people have their money on the line. Other people are trying to compete fairly. And if someone's cheating, they're basically robbing all those people of a fair tournament and of their money. So I don't know why anyone's gotten away with this. I think it should be a felony in every state across this country. And I'm pretty sure after this situation, there's going to be a lot more rules, regulations, harsher sentences by the justice system, and I don't know. You can't go back and charge somebody for a past crime necessarily. I mean, you could, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Mike Lon is ever going to see a day in jail for what he did a few years back. I don't know if Cominsky and Runyan are going to spend any time in jail. But people make mistakes, but being a cheater is a personal choice. That is not a mistake. And if you let money and fame go to your head that easily, you don't deserve any of it. So I just wanted to tell you the story about Mike Lon, Mike Hart, give you an update of what I heard about Cominsky and Runyan. We still don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully these guys have an example made of them so nobody else wants to do this crap anymore. If you guys like this video, subscribe to my page. It helps my page tremendously. And I'm thankful for all of you who have subscribed or even watched or hit the like button. And right now, I have my cat over here meowing at me because she's hungry. So I am going to have to feed her and get on with my night. If I find out anything more, any more juicy gossip on this Runyan and Cominsky case, I'll let you guys know. Otherwise, just look forward to a lot of fishing tutorial videos and fishing videos in general. I have about 50 or 60 videos up right now you guys can enjoy. And I hope you guys learn a thing or two from me about the way I like to catch fish or the things I do to catch fish. And I hope you enjoy the content. Sorry the past few videos have been about this cheating scandal, but it's blowing up in the fishing community, and I felt like I had a right to an opinion, being someone who's fished for over 30 years now of my life, and someone who takes the sport of fishing pretty seriously. I don't compete in tournaments as of now personally, and to be honest with you, I don't know if I ever will, because it seems like there's a lot of unfair things going on in tournaments. And I mean, if you fish in a smaller tournament, it's even easier to get away with some of this stuff, I'm sure. And there's guys getting away with it in major tournaments in this country. So let this be a message to any of you who cheat or poach. You will get caught, and you will have a lot of people pissed off at you, and you don't want to show up to the wrong place at the wrong time and have someone beat the crap out of you or do anything worse, or some psycho retaliate, find out where you live and come after you. I mean, it can go both ways. You got guys like Mike Lon who will do anything they can, threaten someone's life, threaten their children just to get away with something, and you'll have the opposite end of the spectrum where you'll have people pissed off at people like Mike Lon who want to come after them. Just be a fair, honest, reasonable, and respectful person day in and day out, and you won't have problems. Follow the regulations and the laws. That's all there is. And if you compete in a tournament, be fair about it. Don't be a cheater, because you will get caught. Again, if you like this video, subscribe to my page, hit the like button. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.